The funeral flowers were still wilting on the kitchen counter when my sister handed me the pen. Just sign here, Jazz. It's all routine stuff, insurance forms, bank transfers. You know how Dad was with his paperwork. Violet's manicured finger tapped the signature line with practiced impatience. My name is Jasmine, and 3 days earlier I'd gotten the call that shattered everything. Car accident, both parents, gone in an instant on Highway 95 during what should have been a simple grocery run. I stared at the documents through swollen eyes, the words swimming together like alphabet soup. Everything felt underwater, the lawyer's voice during the will reading, the endless parade of casseroles from neighbors, the suffocating weight of decisions that needed making when all I wanted was to crawl into bed and disappear. Jazz, come on, we need to get this done today. Violet's voice carried that edge it always did when she wasn't getting her way fast enough. I signed. Of course I signed. She was my big sister, the one who'd always handled the complicated stuff while I took care of everyone else, the one who'd swooped in from her fancy life in the city, all designer handbags and air kisses, to help with arrangements. There we go. She snatched the papers before the ink was dry. Trey's outside with the moving truck. We'll have everything sorted by tonight. Moving truck? The fog in my brain started to clear. What moving truck? Well, someone needs to take care of the house. You can't possibly manage a place this size on your own. She was already stacking the documents into her leather portfolio. Don't worry, we'll make sure you're comfortable in the guest room until you figure out your next steps. Guest room, in my childhood home. The house where I'd lived for the past 8 years, caring for our aging parents while Violet visited twice a year and sent birthday cards. Violet, I don't understand. Trey, she called toward the front door. Bring the guys in. Start with the master bedroom. A parade of movers invaded our kitchen. Our parents' kitchen. My kitchen, where I'd made them breakfast every morning and helped Dad with his medications and held Mom's hand during her bad days. The antique furniture goes to storage, Violet directed, suddenly all business. The jewelry box is mine. Mom always said so. Oh, and Jazz, there's a storage unit key somewhere. Dad mentioned it. Make sure you find that for me. I watched them wrap our mother's china in newspaper. The same plates we'd eaten off every Sunday dinner, every birthday, every holiday. Violet supervised like a general commanding troops, pointing and directing and claiming. What about me? The words came out smaller than I intended. She turned, eyebrows raised as if she'd forgotten I was there. What about you? Where am I supposed to go? Jazz, honey. Her voice took on that patronizing tone she'd perfected in childhood. You're 33. It's time you got your own place, don't you think? This is actually good for you. A fresh start. This is my home. This is the family estate. And family means responsibility. Real responsibility, not just playing house and making soup. The words hit like a slap. Playing house. 8 years of physical therapy appointments and insurance battles and the midnight emergency room visits, and she called it playing house. That night, after the movers left and Violet and Trey had claimed the master bedroom, I sat in what used to be my room, now designated as temporary guest quarters, holding the only thing she'd left me, a worn photo album filled with family pictures and my parents' old storage unit key taped to the back cover. At least you got something, she'd said, tossing it onto my bed like an afterthought. All those old pictures you're always obsessing over. I flipped through pages of birthday parties and Christmas mornings, vacation trips, and graduation photos. Mom and Dad smiling, arms around both their daughters. Back when we were a family. Back when I believed Violet and I were on the same side. The eviction notice came 2 weeks later. 60 days, Violet announced, sliding the paper across the breakfast table where I sat with my coffee. Coffee I'd bought with my own money in a house that used to be mine. The new owners want to renovate. New owners? Well, we can't keep this place forever. It's not practical. She didn't even look up from her phone. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll figure something out. You were always good at taking care of yourself. I took care of everyone. She finally looked at me then, and her smile was sharp as glass. Jazz, let's be honest. You were always just the nanny. That night, alone in my childhood bedroom that was no longer mine, I opened the photo album again, and tucked between 2 pages near the back, I found something that made my blood run cold. A letter. sealed and notarized, with a date from just 6 months before Dad died. Something was very, very wrong. The letter sat unopened on my nightstand for 3 days while I worked up the courage to break the seal. But first, I had more pressing problems, like the fact that I had exactly $47 in my checking account and nowhere to go. Violet, I need help. I found her in the kitchen, sipping mimosas with Trey while he spread real estate listings across the granite countertop. This one's got potential, Trey was saying, circling numbers with his gold pen. Market's hot right now. We could flip this place for serious profit. Help with what? Violet didn't look up. Money. A place to stay. Anything. Trey snorted. Maybe try getting a real job instead of playing nursemaid your whole life. I had a job, taking care of our parents. That wasn't a job, sweetie, Violet said, finally meeting my eyes. That was you avoiding the real world. Again. The dismissal in her voice triggered something, a flash of memory. Haley, Violet's daughter, crying in my arms at age 6 because mommy missed another school play. Me, braiding her hair and packing her lunches while Violet networked at charity galas. Me, staying up all night when Haley had the flu because Violet had a very important business dinner. I raised your daughter while you were busy climbing social ladders. You babysat occasionally. There's a difference. Occasionally? My voice cracked. I picked her up from school every day for 3 years. I taught her to ride a bike. I was the one who held her when she cried about you missing her birthday party for some fundraiser. Violet's jaw tightened. That's enough. Is it? Because I remember you calling me at 2 a.m., begging me to pick up Haley from sleepovers because you were too drunk to drive. I remember. I said that's enough. She slammed her mimosa glass down, champagne splashing across Trey's listings. You want money? Get a job. You want a place to live? Figure it out. I'm not your mother. No, but you killed her. The words hung in the air like smoke. Violet went white. What did you just say to me? You heard me. All those years I begged you to visit more, to call more, to just care more. Mom used to sit by the window waiting for your car. Dad would make excuses for why you couldn't come to Sunday dinner again. They died waiting for you to love them back. Trey cleared his throat. Maybe I should stay, Violet snapped. She's leaving. But I wasn't done. 8 years of swallowed words came pouring out. You want to know what Mom's last words were? Tell Violet I understand. She was apologizing to you even as she died. For what, Violet? For not being good enough? For not giving you enough? What exactly were you waiting for her to earn? Get out! This is still my house for 37 more days. Get out! I left. But not before I saw something flicker across her face, something that looked almost like shame. Almost. That night, I sat in a 24-hour diner with my laptop and a cup of coffee I couldn't afford, researching community colleges. If Trey wanted to talk about real jobs, fine. I'd get one. But not the kind he was thinking of. Estate law. I typed into the search bar. Then real estate certification. Then paralegal programs. The waitress, a woman about my age with tired eyes and sensible shoes, refilled my coffee without being asked. Rough night? Rough life. She laughed, but not meanly. Been there? You looking at school? Maybe, probably can't afford it. Night classes at Metro Community are cheap. Financial aid covers most of it if you qualify. I'm doing their business program. She nodded toward my screen. Law stuff, huh? Good for you. World needs more women who know how to fight back. Fight back. The words echoed as I walked to my car, a 10-year-old Honda that wheezed when I started it. Fight back. I drove to the storage unit Dad had mentioned, using the key from the photo album. Inside, I found boxes of old tax returns, insurance policies, and legal documents dating back decades. But tucked in a manila envelope marked Important Jasmine Only in Dad's handwriting, I found copies of everything Violet had made me sign. My hands shook as I read. Property transfer, estate management agreement, financial power of attorney. all signed over to Violet Willis Santos, with me listed as a dependent beneficiary entitled to reasonable accommodation at the discretion of the primary heir. Dependent beneficiary. Like I was some charity case instead of their daughter. But there was something else in the envelope. A business card for someone named Lamar Watson, attorney at law, with a handwritten note. If anything happens to us, call Lamar. He has the real will. Dad, the real will. I sat in that storage unit until dawn, surrounded by the paper trail of my parents' lives, and made a promise to myself. Violet thought I was just the nanny. Fine. Let her think that. Let her underestimate me while I learned exactly how the game was played. Because if there was a real will, I was going to find it. And when I did, my sister was going to learn what real power looked like. 5 years. That's how long it took me to become someone Violet wouldn't recognize. Table 6 wants extra ranch, Marcus called from the kitchen of Danny's diner where I worked the morning shift. Got it. I grabbed the bottle, delivered it with a smile, then checked my watch. 40 minutes until I had to be at the bookstore for my afternoon shift, then night classes at 7, 3 jobs plus school. My life ran on coffee and spite. Jazz, you got a visitor, Marcus said when I came back. Fancy lady out front. Through the window, I saw Olivia leaning against a silver BMW. My cousin had always been the neutral one in our family, too scared of Violet to take sides, but too decent to completely ignore me. 5-minute break, I told Marcus, untying my apron. Hey, stranger. Olivia's smile was cautious. You look good. Tired, but good. What do you want, Liv? Can I just visit my favorite cousin? Your only cousin who isn't living in a mansion right now. She winced. That's actually why I'm here. Violet's throwing some kind of party next weekend. Big real estate thing. She specifically said not to invite you, but she shrugged. I thought you should know. Why? Because Haley asked about you. She misses you, Jazz. She's not doing great. My chest tightened. Haley was 17 now, almost ready for college. I'd missed 3 years of her life. How not great? Failing classes, staying out late, Violet's too busy with her social climbing to notice, and Trey, Olivia made a face. Let's just say he's not winning any stepfather awards. What kind of party? Some investor thing. Violet keeps bragging about how they're finally selling the house, says the market's perfect, buyers are lining up. Selling the house, my house, the house where mom taught me to make her famous apple pie, where dad and I watched baseball games, where I'd spent 8 years keeping our family together while Violet lived her separate life. When? Saturday night. Why? Just curious. Olivia studied my face. Jazz, what are you up to? You've got that look. What look? The same one you had when we were kids and you were planning to get back at Violet for breaking your bike. I smiled, remembering. I'd put salt in her shampoo bottle. She'd walked around with white, crusty hair for a week. I'm not up to anything, just working and going to school. School for what? Estate law. Her eyebrows shot up. Estate law? Jazz, what? I have to get back to work. I headed toward the diner door. Thanks for the heads up about the party. Jazz, wait. But I was already inside, tying my apron back on. Through the window, I watched Olivia sit in her car for a long moment before driving away. That evening, in Professor Hicks' advanced estate management class, I raised my hand during the discussion on inheritance disputes. What happens when someone signs documents under duress, like during grief or emotional trauma? Professor Hicks, a sharp eyed woman who'd spent 20 years in family law before teaching, leaned forward. Interesting question, Jasmine. Are we talking about a hypothetical situation? Sure. Hypothetical. Well, hypothetically, if someone could prove they were coerced or mentally compromised when signing legal documents, those documents could be challenged, especially if there's evidence of manipulation or fraud. What kind of evidence? Witness testimony, medical records showing emotional distress, documentation of the deceased's true intentions. She paused. Why do you ask? Just curious about the legal protections for grieving family members. After class, she pulled me aside. Jasmine, you've been one of my most dedicated students. Your work on estate protocols has been exceptional. If you ever need advice on a real situation, not a hypothetical one, my door is always open. I nodded, filing that away for later. Saturday night, I drove past the house, my parents' house, and saw the valet parking, the catered trucks, the string lights Violet had hung in the oak tree where Dad used to push me on the swing. I parked down the street and walked up the driveway like I belonged there, which I did, technically, for 17 more days. The party was everything Violet loved: expensive wine, important people, everyone dressed to impress. I slipped in through the back door, wearing my bookstore uniform and a baseball cap. Jazz? I turned. Haley stood in the kitchen doorway, taller than I remembered, but with the same eyes that used to look at me like I hung the moon. Hey, kiddo! What are you doing here? Mom said. I know what your mom said. I pulled her into a hug. How are you doing? Really? I'm fine. But her voice cracked, and suddenly she was 17 again, but felt like 7, clinging to me the way she used to after nightmares. No, you're not. I hate it here, she whispered. I hate him. I hate her. I hate everything. Haley, honey, she doesn't even see me anymore. It's all about Trey and his stupid business deals and her stupid friends. I asked if I could visit you for my birthday, and she said you were no longer part of our family. The rage that hit me was white hot and pure. Listen to me, I said, holding her face in my hands. You will always be part of my family. Always. And this isn't over. From the living room, I heard Trey's voice booming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that this beautiful property will be hitting the market Monday morning. Applause erupted. Through the doorway, I saw Violet glowing in a designer dress, accepting congratulations like she'd built the house with her own hands. I smiled. Monday morning was going to be very interesting. Monday morning, I sat in the law office where I worked part time, filing documents and answering phones. My boss, attorney Sarah Martinez, was in court, which meant I had access to the legal databases and a quiet hour to make some calls. Watson and Associates, this is Janet speaking. Hi, I'm looking for Lamar Watson. This is Jasmine Willis. A pause. Mr. Watson retired last month, honey, but he left specific instructions about you. Hold on. My heart hammered while I waited. Jasmine? A gravelly voice came on the line. This is Lamar. Your father told me you might call someday. Mr. Watson, I found your card in my dad's papers. He wrote something about a real will. Can you meet me today? 2 o'clock at Rosie's Cafe on 5th Street. And Jasmine, bring that photo album your parents left you. The line went dead. At Rosie's, I spotted Lamar immediately, a black man in his 70s with kind eyes and hands that shook slightly as he stirred his coffee. The photo album sat between us on the red vinyl booth. Your father was a good man, he said without preamble. Smart, too. He saw what was happening with Violet years ago. What do you mean? The gambling debts, the credit cards. The way she'd call him for money every few months with some sob story. Lamar opened the album, flipping past family photos to the back pages. He loved her, but he wasn't stupid. His fingers found something I'd missed, a thin envelope taped inside the back cover, hidden behind the storage unit key. What is that? Insurance policy. Your father's real insurance policy. He carefully peeled away the tape and handed me the envelope. Open it. Inside was a single sheet of legal paper, notarized and signed. My hands shook as I read. I don't understand. This says I'm the majority beneficiary of the estate, 60% ownership. That's right. Your sister gets 40%, but you control the property. Can't be sold without your signature. But I signed papers. Violet had me sign. You signed papers transferring management rights, not ownership. Your father was very specific about the language. Lamar smiled grimly. He knew Violet would try something like this. Why didn't he tell me? Because he hoped he wouldn't have to. He hoped she'd changed. But he also knew grief makes people vulnerable, so he left this as a backup plan. I stared at the document. This is real? Legal? As real as it gets. Filed with the county clerk 3 months before your parents died. The papers Violet had you sign? They're worthless without this codicil. My phone buzzed. Text from Olivia. Violet's freaking out. Something about the house sale. Trey's screaming at someone on the phone. Mr. Watson, what happens now? Now you decide what kind of person you want to be. He stood up, leaving a $5 bill on the table. Your father trusted you to do the right thing. Question is, what's the right thing? That afternoon, my phone rang nonstop. Violet's name flashed on the screen over and over. I let it go to voicemail. Finally, a text. Jazz, we need to talk. Now. I drove to the house, my house, and found Violet pacing the living room like a caged animal. Trey sat on the couch, his face red with anger. There you are. Violet whirled around. What did you do? I don't know what you mean. The title company called. They say there's a problem with the ownership documents. They need both our signatures to proceed with the sale. Huh, that's weird. Don't play dumb with me, Jazz. This is serious. We have buyers lined up, contracts signed. If this sale doesn't go through, what? You'll have to get a real job? Trey stood up. Listen, you little. Sit down, Trey. My voice was ice cold. This doesn't concern you. The hell it doesn't. I've got commissions riding on this deal. I've got investors. You've got nothing. I pulled the codicil from my purse and placed it on the coffee table. Because this house was never yours to sell. Violet snatched the paper, her eyes scanning frantically. The color drained from her face. This is fake. Call Lamar Watson. He'll verify it. You forged this. I didn't forge anything, Violet. Dad did this 3 months before he died, while you were in Cabo posting Instagram photos instead of visiting your dying parents. She sank into Dad's old recliner, the paper trembling in her hands. This can't be real. 60% ownership. That means I control all major decisions about the property, including whether or not it gets sold. Jazz, please. You don't understand. We need this money. I have debts, obligations. You have consequences. Trey grabbed the paper from Violet's hands. There has to be a way around this, some legal loophole. There isn't. I stood up, suddenly feeling 10 feet tall. The sale is off. Permanently? You can't do this. Violet shot to her feet, her face twisted with rage. That money should be mine. I'm the oldest. I'm the one who what? Who abandoned them? Who used them as an ATM? Who treated me like hired help while I sacrificed my entire adult life taking care of our parents? She slapped the coffee table so hard the lamp shook. That should have been mine. It never was yours, Violet. It was always theirs. And they chose to leave it to someone who actually loved them. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, Trey grabbed his keys. I'm done with this family drama. Violet, call me when you figure out how to fix this mess. The front door slammed behind him. Violet looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Fear. What do you want? I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that the sister you called just the nanny just became your landlord. I walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and Violet, you have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. The rumors started within 48 hours. Did you hear about Violet's house? I overheard two women whispering at the grocery store. The sale fell through, something about fraudulent paperwork. I heard her boyfriend dumped her. Well, what did she expect? You can't build a life on lies. I kept my head down and finished shopping, but inside I was smiling. My phone rang as I loaded groceries into my car. Olivia's name flashed on the screen. Jazz, what the hell is happening? Violet called me crying, saying you're trying to steal the house. I'm not stealing anything. I'm claiming what was always mine. She says you forged documents. She can say whatever she wants. The truth is, filed with the county clerk. A long pause. Jazz, I've known you your whole life. You're not vindictive. This isn't like you. Maybe you never really knew me. Or maybe grief and anger are making you into someone you're not. I hung up. That evening, I was studying for my final estate law exam when someone pounded on my apartment door. Through the peephole, I saw Haley, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Haley? What are you doing here? Mom's losing it. She's been drinking since yesterday and crying and throwing things. She pushed past me into my tiny living room. She keeps saying you're trying to destroy our family. Sit down, I'll make tea. I don't want tea. I want to know what's happening. Trey moved out. Mom's talking about lawyers. Everyone at school is asking me questions because their parents heard rumors. I sat beside her on my secondhand couch. Your mom lied to me. She tricked me into signing away my inheritance when I was grieving. So you're taking the house? I'm taking what was always mine. But where are we supposed to go? This is my home, too. The pain in her voice cut deep. Haley, you'll always have a place with me. Always. What about mom? I didn't answer, and she started crying harder. I know she's not perfect, but she's still my mother. And you're destroying her. She destroyed herself. No, you're destroying her because you're angry. And I get it, I do. But this isn't just about you two anymore. This affects me too. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Professor Hicks's name appeared on the screen. I need to take this. Serena, what's up? Jasmine, I heard through the legal grapevine that you're involved in an estate dispute. Is everything okay? I glanced at Haley, who was listening to every word. Can I call you back? Actually, I'm downstairs. Can I come up? We need to talk. 5 minutes later, Professor Hicks sat in my kitchen, her sharp eyes taking in everything. My law books scattered across the table, Haley's tear stained face, the tension crackling in the air. Haley, right? I've heard a lot about you. Serena's voice was gentle but firm. Would you mind giving your aunt and me a few minutes to talk? She's not my aunt anymore, apparently. Haley grabbed her purse. I'm going back to Mom. The door slammed behind her. Rough night? Serena asked. You could say that. Tell me what's really going on, Jasmine, and don't give me the sanitized version. I told her everything. The forged signatures, the codicil, Violet's years of manipulation, the house sale that wasn't happening. Serena listened without interrupting, occasionally nodding or making notes. So, you have legal grounds to claim the property? Yes. And you're planning to evict your sister? Yes. What about the girl? Haley? She can stay with me. And if she chooses her mother? I didn't answer. Serena leaned back in her chair. Jasmine, in my 20 years practicing family law, I've seen revenge destroy more people than justice ever saved. This isn't revenge, this is consequences. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're using legal technicalities to punish your sister for emotional wounds. She stole my inheritance. She manipulated paperwork. You're dismantling her entire life. Serena's voice was calm but cutting. There's a difference between getting what you're owed and getting even. So I should just let her win? Again? I'm saying you should decide what victory actually looks like. Do you want your house back, or do you want to watch your sister suffer? Both. Even if it costs you your relationship with Haley, even if it turns you into the kind of person who destroys families. She destroyed our family first, and now you're finishing the job. The words hung in the air like smoke. Serena gathered her things and stood up. You're brilliant, Jasmine. You could have a real future in law. But brilliance without wisdom is just cleverness, and cleverness can be cruel. She paused at the door. Your parents didn't leave you that house so you could use it as a weapon. They left it to you because they trusted you to be better than that. After she left, I sat alone in my kitchen, staring at the estate law textbooks that had become my Bible over the past 5 years. Everything I'd learned, every late night studying, every sacrifice, it had all led to this moment. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Trey. We need to talk. I have a proposition for you. I stared at the message for a long time before typing back, I'm listening. His response came immediately. Meet me tomorrow, Rosie's Cafe, noon, come alone. I smiled grimly. Apparently, the game wasn't over yet. Trey was already waiting when I arrived at Rosie's, sitting in the same booth where Lamar had changed my life a week earlier. He looked like hell. Unshaven, wrinkled shirt, the kind of desperate that comes from watching easy money slip away. You came. I'm curious what kind of proposition a man makes after his meal ticket dumps him. His jaw tightened. Let's cut the crap, Jasmine. You want the house, I want my commission. We can help each other. I'm listening. He slid a manila envelope across the table. 50,000 cash. Sign over your ownership rights to Violet. Walk away clean and everyone wins. I opened the envelope. Stacks of hundreds neatly bundled. More money than I'd seen in my entire life. Where did you get this? Does it matter? It's yours if you sign. He pulled out a single sheet of paper. Simple ownership transfer. You get paid. I get my sale. Violet gets her house. And Haley gets a stepfather who bribes people with dirty money. That money's clean. Sure it is. I closed the envelope and pushed it back. No deal. Jasmine, be smart about this. 50 grand could change your life. You could quit those dead end jobs, finish school without working yourself to death, start fresh somewhere new. I like my life just fine. Living in that shoebox apartment, working 3 jobs? Come on. You're better than that. I'm better than you. His friendly mask slipped. You think you're so righteous, don't you? Playing the victim, acting like you're owed something. I am owed something. My inheritance. Your inheritance was supposed to be split equally. Your father's little codicil was just him playing favorites from the grave. My father knew exactly what kind of person Violet was. And apparently what kind of person you are too. Trey leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper. You have no idea what you're messing with here. Violet has debts, real debts to real people, people who don't take no for an answer. What kind of debts? The kind that get people hurt when they don't pay up. You think you're punishing her? You're signing her death warrant. A chill ran down my spine, but I kept my voice steady. That sounds like a her problem. It'll become a you problem when they come looking for assets to seize, that house you're so proud of owning. It could disappear overnight if the wrong people get involved. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. Take the money. Walk away. Let me handle the sale and everyone stays safe. I stood up, leaving the envelope on the table. Tell Violet if she wants to discuss the house, she can call me directly. But you? Stay away from me. Jasmine, wait. I was already walking away. That afternoon, I got a call from Warren Delgado, the trustee handling the estate paperwork. Ms. Willis, we have a problem. Someone's filed a dispute claiming the codicil you provided is fraudulent. My blood turned to ice. What kind of dispute? Your sister is claiming the document was forged, that your father was mentally incompetent when he signed it, and that you coerced him into changing his will. That's ridiculous. Lamar Watson can verify. Mr. Watson is in the hospital. Stroke. He's unable to testify right now. Perfect timing. What does this mean for the property? It means everything's frozen until we can sort this out. No sales, no transfers, no major decisions. Could take months, maybe longer. After I hung up, I sat in my car outside the law office where I worked, trying to process what was happening. Violet wasn't just fighting back, she was playing dirty. My phone rang. Haley's name flashed on the screen. Jazz, you need to come to the house, now! What's wrong? Just come, please. I found Haley sitting on the front porch steps, her face pale and scared. Through the living room windows, I could see Violet pacing frantically, talking on the phone. She's been like this all day, Haley said, ever since some lawyer called about the house being frozen or something. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. My mom's having a breakdown, my home might get taken away, and the two people I love most in the world are destroying each other. Before I could respond, Violet burst through the front door. There you are! Her hair was disheveled, her makeup smeared. You think you're so smart, don't you? Filing your fake documents, turning everyone against me. Violet, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. You're trying to steal everything from me. I'm not stealing anything. Liar! She lunged forward, and for a moment I thought she might actually hit me. You forged that codicil. Dad would never have left you more than me. Never. Mom, stop. Haley jumped between us. Just stop. She's poisoned you against me too, hasn't she? Violet's voice cracked. My own daughter, choosing her over me. I'm not choosing anyone. I just want this to end. It will end, Violet said, her voice suddenly cold and controlled. When I prove that document is fake and get what's rightfully mine. She turned to me, her eyes filled with a hatred so pure it was almost beautiful. You want a war, Jazz? You've got one. But remember, I've been playing this game a lot longer than you have. She went back inside, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Haley looked at me with tears in her eyes. What have you done? I wish I had an answer for her. I wish I had an answer for myself. But the truth was, I was starting to realize that winning and being right weren't the same thing, and I wasn't sure which one mattered more. The news hit the local real estate circles like a bomb. Prominent local family in legal battle over $1 million estate. The article didn't name names, but everyone knew. In a town this size, everyone always knew. I was restocking books at the store when my manager, Beth, approached with a newspaper folded under her arm. This you? She pointed to the headline. Maybe? Girl, you've been holding out on me. $1 million estate? And here I thought you were just another broke college student. It's complicated. It always is when family and money mix. She handed me the paper. For what it's worth, I hope you get what's yours. The article was worse than I'd expected. Anonymous sources claiming financial irregularities and family dysfunction. Violet's lawyer had clearly been busy feeding the press. My phone buzzed. Text from Olivia. We need to talk. Family meeting tonight. Mom's house, 7 p.m. Great. A family tribunal. I arrived at Aunt Carol's house to find the living room packed with relatives I hadn't seen in years. Olivia, her parents, two of my dad's cousins, and Violet's ex husband Marcus, Haley's biological father, who'd flown in from Phoenix. Violet sat in the corner like a defendant, Haley beside her looking miserable. Now that everyone's here, Aunt Carol began, we need to discuss this situation before it destroys what's left of our family. There's nothing to discuss, Violet said. Jazz forged documents to steal my inheritance. I didn't forge anything. Then why is Lamar Watson conveniently unavailable to verify your story? He had a stroke, Violet. He's in intensive care. Marcus cleared his throat. Look, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I came because Haley called me crying. She's 17 years old and watching her family tear itself apart over money. It's not about money, I said. Isn't it? Olivia leaned forward. Jazz, I've watched you change over the past 5 years. You used to be the peacekeeper, the one who held everyone together. Now you're the one causing the chaos. I'm causing it? Violet stole my inheritance while I was grieving our parents' death. She made a mistake. She made a choice, a calculated, deliberate choice to screw me over when I was at my lowest point. Uncle Ray, Dad's older brother, spoke up. Your father called me a few months before he died. Said he was worried about Violet's spending, her gambling. He mentioned updating his will. The room went quiet. What exactly did he say? Violet's voice was barely a whisper. He said he loved both his girls, but one of them had already proven she could take care of herself, and the other had proven she couldn't take care of anyone. Violet flinched like she'd been slapped. But he also said, Uncle Ray continued, looking at me, that he hoped you'd be wise enough to take care of your sister anyway, because that's what family does. Family doesn't steal from each other. I shot back. No, Aunt Carol said quietly, but family forgives each other. Even when it's hard. Easy to say when it's not your life that got destroyed. Haley suddenly stood up. Stop it, all of you, just stop. Tears streamed down her face. Grandpa and Grandma are dead, dead, and instead of grieving them together, you're fighting over their stuff like vultures. Haley, Violet reached for her. No, Mom, you lied to Jazz. You know you did. You took advantage of her when she was hurting, and now you're trying to make everyone believe she's the bad guy. Honey, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You've been lying to me my whole life about Dad, about money, about why Jazz stopped coming around. I'm not stupid. She turned to me. And you're so busy getting revenge that you don't care who gets hurt. You say you love me, but you're willing to destroy my mom to get back at her. That's not. Yes, it is. You both are so focused on hurting each other that you can't see what you're doing to everyone else. She grabbed her jacket and headed for the door. Where are you going? Violet called. To Dad's hotel. At least he's not trying to destroy anyone. The front door slammed, leaving us all in stunned silence. Marcus stood up. I'm taking Haley back to Phoenix with me until you two figure this out. You can't do that, Violet protested. Watch me. I've got joint custody. And right now, this environment is toxic for my daughter. After he left, the room felt like a morgue. Jazz, Olivia said softly, what do you really want here? Do you want the house? Do you want Violet to suffer? Do you want to be right? Because you can't have all three. I looked around the room at the faces of people who'd known me since I was born. People who'd watched me grow up, who'd celebrated my birthdays and graduations, who'd hugged me at my parents' funeral. I want justice. Justice, Uncle Ray repeated. Your father used to say justice without mercy is just revenge in a fancy suit. Violet finally spoke, her voice broken. Jazz, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. I was scared and desperate, and I made a terrible choice. I've been making terrible choices for years. Sorry doesn't give me back 5 years of my life. No, it doesn't, but maybe we can figure out how to move forward anyway. I stood up, suddenly exhausted. I need time to think. How much time? Aunt Carol asked. I don't know. But Violet, you have until Friday to move out of the house. That part isn't changing. I left them all sitting there and drove home to my tiny apartment, where I sat on my secondhand couch and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being the victim and started being the villain. The question was, which one was I willing to live with? Friday morning came too fast and not fast enough. I stood in the driveway of my parents' house, my house, watching Violet load boxes into a U-Haul truck. She moved slowly, like every item weighed 100 pounds. Haley sat on the porch steps, refusing to help. That's the last of it, Violet said, not looking at me. Where are you going? Olivia's letting me stay in her guest room until I figure things out. She wiped her hands on her jeans. I got a job at the department store. Sales associate. It's not much, but it's honest work. The words hung between us like a peace offering I wasn't sure I wanted to accept. Mom, can we just go? Haley's voice was flat, emotionless. She hadn't spoken to me since the family meeting. Actually, I said, pulling an envelope from my jacket, there's something we need to discuss first. Violet's face went pale. More legal papers? Not exactly. I handed her the envelope. Open it. Inside were keys and a single sheet of paper. Violet's hands shook as she read. I don't understand. This is a lease agreement. For the carriage house. Behind the main property. I nodded toward the small building that used to be Dad's workshop. It's been converted into a one-bedroom apartment. Rent is 400 a month, utilities included. Jazz, I can't afford. You can afford it on a sales associate salary. I checked. Haley looked up for the first time. You're letting us stay? I'm letting your mother stay. You're welcome anytime, but I know you're going to Phoenix with your dad for senior year. Why? Violet's voice cracked. After everything I did to you, why would you? Because Haley was right. Mom and Dad are gone, and fighting over their stuff won't bring them back. I sat down on the porch steps beside my niece, and because I realized something this week, I spent 5 years learning how to destroy you, but I never learned how to forgive you. I don't deserve forgiveness. Maybe not, but I deserve peace. Violet sank onto the steps beside us, the lease agreement clutched in her hands. There has to be a catch, some condition or. There is. I looked her straight in the eye. You go to counseling. For the gambling, the lying, all of it. And you pay me back. Not all at once, but something every month. Even if it's just $20. That'll take forever. Good. It'll remind you every month what your choices cost. Haley leaned against my shoulder the way she used to when she was little. Are you really okay with this? After everything she put you through? I'm tired, kiddo. I'm tired of being angry, tired of fighting, tired of carrying around all this hate. It's heavy. What about the house? Are you going to live here? I looked up at the big Victorian where I'd spent so many years taking care of everyone but myself. Eventually. Right now, I'm going to rent it out and use the money to finish law school. Maybe start that family foundation Mom always talked about. A foundation? For what? Caregivers, people like me who sacrifice their lives taking care of family members. They deserve support, legal protection, resources. I smiled. Turns out all that studying wasn't just about revenge. I actually love this stuff. Violet wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Jazz, I know I can't undo what I did, but I want you to know I see you now. I see everything you sacrificed, everything you gave up for mom and dad and Haley and even me. I was wrong to call you just the nanny. You were the heart of this family. I still am. We sat there in silence, 3 generations of women who'd hurt each other and loved each other and somehow found a way back to something that might eventually look like family again. So, what happens now? Haley asked. Now your mom moves into the carriage house. You finish high school in Phoenix, and I figure out how to be something other than angry. And us? Are we okay? I pulled her closer. We're family. We're never not okay, even when we're not okay. Violet stood up, keys in hand. I should probably start moving my stuff to the apartment. Violet? She turned back. Welcome home. That evening, I sat alone in the big house for the first time in 5 years. It felt different than I'd expected, not triumphant or victorious, just quiet, peaceful. My phone buzzed. Text from Haley. Thank you for giving Mom a second chance, and thank you for being the bigger person. Grandpa would be proud. I walked to the mantel where Mom's photo sat next to Dad's, both of them smiling in that way parents do when their children are getting along. For the first time since their funeral, I felt like maybe they could rest easy. Turns out the dustiest things do hold the sharpest edges. Violet gave me that photo album like it was trash, never knowing it contained her undoing. But somewhere between finding that codicil and using it, I learned something she never did. Power isn't about what you can take from people, it's about what you choose to give back.